As always, Ted, kick us off. Who do you have as your winner of the weekend?
Well, it's that time of the year, Gabe. I've got to go with OU softball. Start
Yes.
the season off 4-0 in Puerto Vallarta, in that little
Look at
classic they
you.
go to every year. Yeah, look good. 4-0 takes the winning streak out to 57 games, and they look pretty good. Outscored their opponents 31-6. Got to see a bunch of different pitchers out there. Some youngsters playing well, hitting some bombs. Um, it was all around looked pretty daggum impressive. Was it the what's the girl's name? Was it the Pickering is the true freshman, first at bat, grand
Stud.
slam. So Kinsey Hansen hit a bomb. To no one's surprise, they picked up right where they left off, looking good.
And got a couple good games, right? Which I think is
Yeah,
important for
but they
this
were
team's growth.
down to Washington.
That was a bit of a nail biter. And we've heard Patty Gasso talk about it before. And I don't think she said this. She says this type of stuff to be mean, but it's like last year's team was last year's team.
Yeah,
You're not last year's team. You didn't accomplish what like this is this year's team. And for them to get some good games early on, for them to battle through that and to finish those games out, I thought that was really good stuff. Now I'll be honest with you. I thought they were going to go down there and win every single game by a lot, especially with the way they started in the opener, right? But
yeah,
I do think it's more valuable for them to feel those pressure situations as this year's team. I know a lot of those players have been in a lot of pressurized situations over the last couple seasons. Right? That's what happens when you put together the seasons that they have. But I don't know. I just feel that's really good for the team's growth as a whole to experience some of that stuff early.
yeah. I don't think there's any doubt. Little adversity, a reminder that people aren't just going to lay down and hand it to you. And yeah, I've heard a lot of coaches, players. I've heard Tom Brady talk about it, how every year is different. You never start off the following year where you left off the year before. It's kind of weird how you have to start over from scratch and build back and get better at all these different areas. And it's not just a continuous product that builds and builds and builds and gets better and better and better. Like, people cycle out, new players come in, coaches leave, coaches come in. There's just each team has a different feeling to it, a different personality, if you will, and you got to find your way. And this team is, they're going to find their way, and a little early adversity can pay dividends down the stretch.
Full disclosure, I did not know Duke was good at softball.
Yeah, top 10. They may be World
I knew
Series.
once the game started, I was like, oh my gosh, they're what number nine? I think they're number nine in one poll and number 11 in the other. And that was a good game. A 3-run game.
Yeah,
Those 3 runs were, I think it was in the second or third inning, and just
yeah.
tremendous pitching in that one.
I don't know a lot about Duke, but softball can be like that, where a team all of a sudden they've got an ace pitcher and they can carry a team a long ways and make them really tough. So yeah, I don't know. Duke, look at Duke. How about it?
Did not expect us to talk Duke softball tonight, but here we are. Here we are. You never know what you'll get on this podcast, ladies and gentlemen. All right, who do you have as your loser of the weekend?
If you give people an inch, they'll take a mile. I had to go with Phoenix Waste Management.
Whoa.
It devolved into, whenever you see like those spring breaks where it turns into an absolute S show with fights and just chaos. That's what the Phoenix Open was
It,
this year.
it's like when South Padre, when we were kids, South Padre Island was cool, and people were like, oh yeah, go there, it's nice. And then all of a sudden, it was where everyone went, and it was an absolute dumpster fire.
Yep, that's right. Absolutely. Yeah, you had fights. You had a lady fell off the high rise, I guess. You had people yelling at players, players yelling at people. They had to shut down the booze sales on the course, trying to tame things down a little bit. You had flooding and a monsoon came through. It was bad. But hey, you had a dramatic win there at the end, which was pretty cool in the playoffs.
Yeah,
But outside of that, I imagine they're gonna be a little more strict. I mean, that's been the one place where they let people go out and cut loose and be loud and have a great time. And for the most part, I think people have been able to do it and still maintain some order. But you keep letting the rope out, and eventually it gets out of hand. And I feel like this was the year.
I went last year. So last year it was the Phoenix Open Super Bowl combo.
That's
That's
right.
what was going on. And we went and we had seats on the 16th hole, but you still have to walk through you have to walk through a lot of the course to get there. And it was the first time, and I've been what, 4 or 5 times now. Been quite a few times. It's an awesome event. And I've always told people you got to go. And maybe it's because I'm getting old, man. But last year we were walking back there and we were seeing some stuff. And I turned to my wife and I said, hey, am I getting older? Is this a little much?
Yeah.
And it was Saturday. It was the exact same situation. Saturday at the Phoenix Open, day before the Super Bowl. And she looked at me and was like, no, it's getting to be a little much. There's too many people. And
Yeah.
that's what it sounded like happened was that they had too many people on the golf course.
Yeah.
Just can't let that many people in.
Too many. I said like 200,000 people there, something like that.
I think at one point, and this is just stuff that I read where the people that were checking tickets at the gate, there were just too many people that are like, all right, we give up.
What are we gonna
Like we're
do?
not getting paid enough for this.
Yeah.
I'm glad. I'm surprised they told those bartenders like stop serving booze. I'm glad nothing like there was no altercation
Because they shut it down.
because they shut down. Like coming up to the bartenders be like, no, you're gonna serve. I'm glad
Yeah.
nothing bad happened.
Well, I'm sure.
Because you
But
tell a bunch of
probably
drunk
did.
dudes like, hey, you can't have any more drinks. They're not exactly gonna take that well, typically.
I paid my money to get in here. Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like it was there was fights everywhere and jeez.
See the one clip, he was like, dude, shut up when he's over on the ball. Stop talking his backswing. This is our effing job.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Crazy.
I felt I don't know, the Ryder Cup stuff, that had to be rough for Zach Johnson. I
Yeah.
think he was at his breaking point. That clip is, I mean, he is fed up with it. Fed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine like if you're like it's not always fun to be out there if you don't have your game's not going and you're grinding and then it's like you're having to deal with all the stuff in the stands and people talking and which it's like I don't feel sorry for the golfers. I mean, I just would like people to conduct themselves in a good way. That's really it. It's like I'm not gonna cry myself to sleep because the golfers have to deal with someone talking in their backswing. It's just let's all act decent, right? That's really it.
Golfers, go make a mistake in an important football game and then come talk to us, okay?
Right.
Soft. Soft. No, but it did. I had multiple people there that were telling me, yeah, man, it's not good. Like
Yeah.
they basically lost control of this thing. So they'll figure it out. They'll figure it out. I think the Waste Management will continue to be the most fun golf tournament in the sport. But yeah, it seems like the tiger got out of the cage a little bit.
Tiger got out of the cage. It's funny.
Uh, let's finish up with my winner and loser. But first, attention business owners, you need Insurica in your life. Insurica is one of the country's largest insurance brokers with 30 offices throughout Oklahoma, Texas, and the Southwest. Insurica is able to customize programs by accessing the latest information from many insurance carriers. They compare and contrast coverage offerings and pricing in order to design a cost-effective, comprehensive program to meet your business's specific needs. If your business partners with Insurica, you'll save huge amounts of money and take back control of your total cost of risk. If your business wants to be best in class, connect with Insurica at insurica.com. That's INSURICA.com.
And head to opolisclothing.com for our podcast merchandise and the best OU gear out there. That's OPOLIS clothing.com. Use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. That's opolisclothing.com. Use promo code TED for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
For my winner of the weekend, I thought about going with Live Golf. So you had the debacle at the Waste Management.
Yeah.
Right. Meanwhile, I was locked into Live Golf on Saturday. Broadcast is solid. Now, sure, the team names could be better, the logos could be better, whatever. It's a little goofy. I don't really care. But you see a ton of golf shots. And at one point, there was a 6-way tie. And two of the guys that it was like Dustin Johnson, our guy Taylor Gooch, John Rahm. I mean, it was some big names in golf, man. And Dustin Johnson ended up having just an awesome finish, strong finish to win it. Our guy Taylor Gooch, we got to get him back on the pod soon.
Yep.
Ended up finishing T2. It's just a fun watch, man. And I know some people don't maybe understand or like the team aspect of it. I kind of dig it. I heard Graham McDowell talk about it afterwards, how much he loves being part of a team, like that him and his teammates, they work together, they share strategy, they talk about the course. Like it's just different. And I'd never really thought about it in that way from the golfer's perspective. And I don't know, hearing him talk about it made me think about it a little differently. And I don't know, man. I was digging watching some Live Golf. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I like it too. I think the team aspect is the team aspect is cool. I wish it was team golf is fun to watch. I almost wish like the way they do college is pretty cool. How you have like the different formats on different days. It's like the Ryder Cup, which I don't think they'll ever get to that, but if they had maybe an event or two out there that was more like team driven would be kind of cool. Because I'll dig that part of it also.
Yeah, I wonder if they could add a couple extra events where it was a match play type of situation like you're talking about. But I enjoyed it.
Do you mind the house music banging in the background?
Not one bit. It doesn't. I guess it really bothers some people. I don't even notice it.
It does. It doesn't bother me. It's totally different than, I guess, what your traditional golf broadcast where they pump in the fake birds chirping and crap like that, and it's as quiet as could be out there. I mean, it's different than that, but it doesn't bother me at all.
Question for you. When you go golf with your buddies, do you listen to music on the speaker?
100% of the time.
That's just the way I see it. I can't tell you the last time I've golfed where I didn't have music on. It'd be strange. So it doesn't bother me at all. But there was a clip of John Rahm. He was on the tees looking at it, and I couldn't tell if it was him or his caddy. Someone going, "Quiet, please. Quiet, please. Quiet, please." And he said it like 6 times. It was a really funny clip. But I don't know. I didn't mind it. I enjoyed watching it. And Gooch, P2 and Smash GC with the team win. It's a solid 3 days work for our guy.
Love it.
But for my winner of the weekend, I don't compliment Ohio State very often, but the Ohio State Buckeyes. I see you, Ryan Day.
They've had them a little off season now, haven't they?
Yeah. Doing some work in the transfer portal.
Someone feels some pressure up there, I think.
I think so. But remember, he hired Bill O'Brien to be the offense coordinator there. Bill O'Brien takes the head job at Boston College. You're going, dang, it's not a good time to lose your offensive coordinator. That's not ideal. All Ryan Day did was go out and land Chip Kelly.
That's just fascinating to me. Which, you know, I kind of understand it from Chip Kelly's perspective.
How?
Well, I thought he had done some really good things at UCLA. UCLA has been garbage in football for as long as I can remember.
Right.
And the last 3 years for them have been, for UCLA standards, incredibly solid. He had recruited well. They'd done good in the transfer portal. And he's still like one of the top coaches nationally on the hot seat. So if you see the writing on the wall and Ohio State's about to be really good, got a chance to go win a national championship, 1 or 2 years, win a national championship or compete for one at Ohio State, take your pick at a job where you want to go. You know, and maybe he could do that anyways, but
He'll just go back to being the UCLA head coach after,
yeah, there you go.
after
Sign
his
him
stint
to
at
a
Ohio
bigger
State.
deal. Yeah, I think like maybe that's part of it. The other part of it may be I'm done dealing with all the things a head coach has to deal with.
I think that's it.
You know,
he was making nearly $6 million at UCLA. And he just said, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah.
I'll take the 2 million, whatever they're going to give him. He left at a time where every coach that wants to be in college coaching is trying to get an SEC or a Big Ten head coaching job. He just left one.
Yeah.
Willingly. Said, I'm good. I'm out. I'll just go be the offense coordinator at Ohio State. A team in the same conference as the team that I was
shocking, how shocking you think that was for the AD there?
How about the players?
Yeah.
Can you imagine Chip Kelly recruited you, brought you in, and he says, guys, I'm going to Ohio State. And all the guys turn and go, did they fire Ryan Day? You're going to Ohio? No, I'm be the offensive coordinator, guys. See
they
ya.
lost their DC too, right? That's who USC hired.
Yeah, Deanton Lynn.
Yep. So, yeah, just wild.
I think some of the stuff that they've done offensively is really, really good. Physical running attack they've had the last couple of years at UCLA. I expect that to translate. And you think about Travion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins at the running back spots for Ohio State. Now you got to get the offensive line right. But I think Chip Kelly is going to be able to dial some stuff up for the Buckeyes. Yeah. And it turned into this big conversation about everything that a head coach has to handle with NIL and the portal and all this stuff. And I'm sure that's a factor. Part of me wonders if Chip Kelly looked at it and goes, you know what? I made a ton of money. I just want to coach.
Yeah.
I don't want to deal with all the other stuff. I just want to coach football. I want to coach quarterbacks. I want to draw plays up. I don't want to deal with all the other stuff. And you still got to recruit as an offensive coordinator, and you're still a big name. Like, players are going to want to talk to you. That's still going to be a part of his day-to-day, but it's going to be way less. And you think about the NIL piece. After what we saw this offseason, some of the acquisitions Ohio State made, they seem to have that piece figured out pretty good.
Yeah, and the offensive coordinator, like, you take the NIL stuff flows upstream, right? It's like, hey, the starting quarterback has come to me and wants to redo his NIL deal. Go talk to the head coach. This recruit we're looking at wants to talk about his NIL deal. Go talk to the head coach. You know, you could pass all of that crap on and get back to being a football coach, recruiting, and I mean, it's still babysitting. It's still a massive headache, but far less of a headache as the offensive coordinator than it is the head guy.
Yeah. I got no clue who UCLA is going to hire. PJ Fleck said he didn't want it. Doesn't sound like Brent Brennan is a candidate. I saw Jed Fish. Some people are saying that he may interview. He said he's going back to Washington. DeAnton Lynn, you mentioned he's at USC. Now, would he go back and be the head coach? I don't know. Barry Odom's been mentioned. Tom Herman, David Shaw, Tony White, the DC at Nebraska. He played at UCLA. I mean, it's a Big Ten job, but it's also a Big Ten job where the school's had some financial management issues. And it can't help things that the head coach just left for a coordinator job somewhere else, man.
No.
That's got to make you go, wait. What's going on here? What's wrong with this job? Should I take this job?
The guy that's done better there than anyone in 25 years. And it's not that it's that great. I mean, and he's like, no thanks. It's crazy. Good for Chip. Be where you want to be.
Way to choose happiness, Chip.
Choose happiness.
He chose actually coaching some football over the paycheck. Impressive stuff from Chip Kelly. All right, for my loser of the weekend, hinted at it earlier. Give me the Alabama Crimson Tide. Been an interesting sequence of events here for Alabama. Nick Saban retires.
Yeah.
Which immediately results in you losing some good players in the portal.
Uh-huh.
But you hire Kalen DeBoer. A lot of excitement around him, just taking that Washington team to the national title game. There was a lot of excitement that he was bringing Ryan Grubb as his offensive coordinator after Ryan Grubb did not get the Washington job. And, well, that ain't happening.
Mm-mm.
Even though only a few days ago I saw a clip of Grubb saying, I'm your offensive coordinator to some booster club there at Bama. He gone. Will be the offense coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks. Hey, maybe he'll be the head coach at UCLA. Who knows? But as of now, going to be the offense coordinator for the Seattle Seahawks next season. And we'll see what DeBoer does. Maybe he ends up calling plays his first season. I've got no doubt that there will be plenty of guys that will have a lot of interest in being the offense coordinator at Alabama. But losing Grubb hurts, and he's also taken the guy that was supposed to be his offensive line coach. Grubb's taking him with him to Seattle. So you lose your OC, who's also your quarterback's coach, and your O-line coach. Those are big losses for Kalen DeBoer. And, man, Ted, just a lot of change in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, and spring ball is knocking on the door.
Yeah.
And now here's the crazy thing is it felt like Saban had a hard time hiring his last offensive coordinator. Right? It
ended up with Tommy Rees.
Which, I don't know where he was on the wish list to start off, but it felt like there was a way more people reluctant to take that job than maybe you would have ever anticipated. And now it's going to be even more difficult. So, yeah, I don't know.
Only other thing I have to say about the Bama situation, I was happy seeing Saban is going to be on game day. He's going to be awesome.
Yep, I agree. Good sense of humor. understands it all. He knows everyone. When Saban calls you, you pick up the phone and tell him what you're going to do on Saturday, right? I mean, he's going to know everyone's game plan. I mean, he should be awesome.
I honestly think it'll make more people watch it. And I'll tell you right now, anytime you're a part of a television show or a radio show, there is, for lack of a better term, there's like an alpha. There's a dominant personality. And I'm just very interested to see what the dynamic between Saban, Herbstreit, and McAfee looks like.
Well, that's probably been one of the problems with it, even though it's good. Like, there's not a like Corso would have been the guy for a long time, but there's not like the ultimate, like we defer to what he says, like, and I think that'll probably make it feel a little bit different up there in a good way.
I really hope, and I've got faith in McAfee because he's a wildly entertaining guy. I hope McAfee just tells Saban he's wrong, even if he doesn't think that, like tells him he thinks he's wrong about something every once in a while, because it would just be hilarious to see how he would react.
I think I think those two will actually probably coexist pretty well. I know he's been on Pat's show recently. I haven't seen any of it, but how does that go? Have you seen any of the clips? I would
I've watched
imagine
some of the clips. Seems good.
you got like two wildly different personalities that somehow it feels like it may work great.
Yeah. The thing I'm most interested in is if DeBoer and Bama struggle, how he's going to handle that.
Yeah.
Because that's a tough spot for him. And how he would navigate that situation, I think, would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing. I mean, he struggled in his first year at Bama, but that was a long time ago. And he just handed, even though they lost some guys, he still got a top 3 most talented roster in all of college football that he just handed to him.
Yeah. And, he, at least for like the time being, like I will say, like when Coach Stoops is on there, rarely critical of anyone, right? You highlight on the positives of whatever contest you're talking about. And I imagine that's probably how Saban's going to be, at least for a while.
I hope he's just completely honest. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And I don't want him to be mean or anything like that. I want him to approach it like if he were sitting watching tape, breaking down a game. Like that's how I want him to approach it.
Yeah.
Just give me what you think, man. Whether it's, then maybe sometimes it'll come out sounding really, really critical, but I think that's what people want.
Yeah, because you got a great setup. You've got McAfee, the least serious guy ever. Saban, the most serious guy ever. Herbstreit, the most like down the middle of the road guy ever. So it could end up being perfect.
I got a feeling Reese Davis, he's going to be quarterbacking that thing at a high level. He's really good. So I don't know. I'm excited. I think the show is.
How long before Saban just takes over for him?
Just starts bringing. What happens if he starts bringing them in and out of breaks?
Let me stop you right there, Reese.
I got it, Reese. I got it. You can go now. No, but it's going to be. I think it's going to be really good.
I agree.
I'm fired up.